Yeah, I got half battery. We just let this shit roll and then we can figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's less awkward. But yeah, I'll monitor it in the next day or so.
Mm-hmm.
And go from there.
But take it, 2 or 3 times a day.
I know. You know what I think is really funny? This will definitely get edited out. Like, But I was talking shit, so that'll all be edited out. So. Alright.
Time.
Okay.
No more shit.
3:14. There'll definitely be shit talking about. Alright. Oh shit, I don't know what episode this is. I'm bad at this. Oh, I did. Okay.
This is the next episode.
Yeah. Episode 5 of Coffee with Katie. We're here with Callie. Alright, Callie, this is how we start. This is how I'm going to start it. You get into a taxi. I guess it's an Uber now because it's not 1990. Just hear me out. And they ask you, what do you do? Give your answer.
When an Uber driver asks what I do, I tell them I'm a nurse.
But I feel like you do a lot more than that.
Well, yeah, I do, but I do a lot of things.
Okay, talk about all the things.
A nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
That an Uber driver.
Tell about your cool stuff, though. You travel a lot. So what is that all about?
Okay, so my real job is...
See, it already divulged. My real job.
So I'm an acute care nurse practitioner.
Okay.
So that essentially means I have a graduate degree in nursing, and I specialize in critical care and hospital medicine.
Is that master's or PhD?
Master's.
Cool. Sick. Love
and
that.
but I have a doctorate in nursing practice that is research and quality improvement.
Cool.
Foci.
And that was all at Duke?
No, that was at different institutions in North Carolina. I
Sick.
took a tour of all the
You
North Carolina schools.
It all up.
So I went to App State for a year, I went
Okay.
to ECU, I went to Duke for my master's, and UNC for my doctorate.
You really got around.
Yeah, so
But you're Team Duke, or just because
well, I'm
you
Team
work
Duke
there?
now because they pay the bills.
But if they weren't, who would you root for?
Whoever can pay me the most money.
But if it's UNC Duke, who are you rooting for? I guess now
Duke.
it's a Duke.
Yeah.
Would that have been the answer before too?
Probably.
You grew up in this area. Who'd you root for?
I grew up in this area. I'm 4th generation Duke student.
Oh, cool.
So my family has.
Yeah, we're Team Duke around here.
Yeah,
we're Team Duke around here.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about your fitness history. Did you grow up playing sports?
Yes, I grew up swimming.
Swimming. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
swimming is
my sick.
Yeah, and swimming is still my happy sport.
Okay.
That's where I feel the most joy for sure. So I grew up doing summer swim league and then did year-round stuff and made a couple junior national events, and then. Do you want to know what happens after that?
Hit me with all of it.
Okay, so
this is the journey.
So I got recruited to swim for a college team.
Cool.
I was great. I was a sprinter.
Yeah.
Not into the long events. I just want to
You want to get it
kick
over
it.
with.
Yeah, I just want to go. And so when I was in my late teenage years, I was diagnosed with long QT. Okay. Which is a heart arrhythmia, essentially. And I got cut from the college team because of that diagnosis.
That's really tough.
It was fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's terrible. You're good.
Yeah, it was not good, and it was really, really hard. And that's when I kind of got into nursing school. And
Interesting.
If you're in nursing school, you don't do much.
You're not doing else. Yeah, no, for sure.
But I went from swimming to doing triathlons.
Oh, cool.
Because that's kind of a natural
Have you done
thing.
an Ironman yet?
I've done a half.
Cool. When are we doing the Ironman arc?
I don't know if I have time to train for that.
I believe in you.
It's so much time.
No, it is a lot. One of my best friends back home, she's an athletic trainer for UF Gymnastics, and she was a big runner. She did CrossFit a little bit too, but she just did a half Ironman last year, and then she's training for the full thing now. And it's just, she sent me her training schedule, and it's absurd.
It's so addicting.
And if I'm saying that, it's gotta be. Yeah. I know. I really want to do one. I think that's a 2026 goal. Is a half first.
Great.
I gotta lean out quite a bit because man, it's just running?
White Lake is a great half iron to do.
Yeah, I think she's doing that one.
Really?
Yeah,
it's a really good one.
Yeah, so she's doing a non-sanctioned half Ironman, like a non-true Ironman here in North Carolina somewhere. I can't remember. So she's doing that, and then I think she's doing like Ottawa or some shit. And I was like, how are you gonna get your bike there? And she's like, I don't know. So that was an interesting choice for sure. But
yeah,
no, I kind of want to do the Ironman arc, mostly for the tattoo. You know, like how sick would it if I had an Ironman tattoo, but I'm so beefy?
Yeah.
Because normally you see people
athlete
with
tattoo
tattoos.
profile is incomplete until you have.
Yeah, I'm not getting the Olympic rings, so I gotta try for the Ironman tat. So I don't know. All right, so you did triathlons.
It's kind of a natural progression for swimmers because most people with the triathlons, I think for the majority of people, swimming is the weaker.
Yeah.
The weaker leg, and so for swimmers,
they're like, yeah, that's sick.
But people would just pass me on the bike, because I could not bike, I would swim, and they would pass me, and they'd be like, "Good swim." You were so. And I'm thinking, thank you, bye.
How was the half?
It was great.
Yeah, where'd you do it?
I did White Lake.
Oh, cool.
Actually,
cool, sick.
Yeah.
I know they have one in North Carolina at the end of the year this year.
Yeah.
But it says that it's a hard course.
Just don't go in the mountains and do it.
No, I know. Like I look at the chart, like they have all the dates and they show you like difficulty, like rolling versus flat versus whatever. And I'm like, well, this one looks scary and this one. But then I always tell Chloe, because this is how my brain's broken. I'm like, but do I need to pick one of those hard ones? Because am I bitching out if I pick an all flat one? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
It's like 2 years ago I did 75 hard, and then I was like, should I go to 100 because everyone does 75? And she was like, what? And then I did. But
you're so special.
I'm mentally the term is mentally ill, Callie. But thank you. I like special more.
Yeah.
All right, so you did triathlons, half Ironman, very cool.
Yeah.
Is the next step CrossFit, or is there something in between? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
And when did you start CrossFit?
Well, I knew I was gonna love it, and I knew I was, I was gonna do it eventually.
Yeah.
But I remember I was like training for a marathon, and I could run forever.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel fit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm actually not. I don't feel that healthy right now.
Yeah.
I can just run slow for a long time.
Same.
And so I was like, I know that I need to start doing more like HIIT and more strength, and so I just bit the bullet, and it was like 2013 or 2014 I started.
And was that at Morrisville?
No, that was at it was called CrossFit 919 at the time.
Yeah, is that Jim's old gym?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. The lore, you guys know none of the Durham CrossFit lore, but I've heard so much of it. So yeah. So you went to 919. You were at Morrisville, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you came to South Durham.
Yeah.
And then it became Fit Lab.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I went to Morrisville because the programming there at the time was more strength focused.
Okay.
And
so you've always wanted to lift heavy weights.
Yeah. It brings me
Cardio bunny becomes lifter. I love.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What
year would that have been? When you started?
When I started?
Yeah, when you started CrossFit.
Like 2013.
Okay, yeah, so you're pretty OG. I love that.
Yeah.
That's very early.
Yeah. I remember like my first open workouts were 2014.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's
OG stuff.
Yeah.
Callie looks 23, but it's not, to be clear. How old are you, Callie? If I can ask.
38.
38, yeah, you look great. I remember when Chloe and I found out you were 38, we were like, oh my god, this is why you do CrossFit. So you can look like Callie at 38. No, I do think that's a consistent thing across the board. There's like a lot of people at Fit Lab that when I found out how old they were, I was like shocked because they look incredible for how old they are. How old?
Well,
it's like late 30s, early 40s.
They're the consistent people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a big correlation there. It's almost as if health and fitness go together, and it keeps you looking youthful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But there's also correlation between like having the privilege of affording a gym like that and having the time to spend at a gym like that.
That's a good point.
Like the ability to take care of yourself.
I never thought of it.
I definitely don't take that for granted. It is such a privilege to be able to pay for CrossFit. And
no, absolutely. Because I kind of forget.
For it.
I kind of forget sometimes, and I'll talk to my father-in-law, who, to be clear, makes a lot of money, just a ton of money. And then we'll talk about how much CrossFit pays, and he's like, "Oh my god," because he just one is worked on and off for the Navy his whole career, so has naval gyms, and then pays just for global gyms, to go to lift kind of thing. So someone who pays $30, even $50 a month to go to a global gym here is $150, $180, $200, however much whoever is paying for CrossFit, and has an aneurysm.
Yeah.
But I do think I don't know. I talk to my personal training clients about it a lot, because I'm it's expensive, but the model at Planet Fitness is Callie's gonna sign up and pay $10 a month, and she's not gonna show up, but she's gonna pay it for forever, because she's gonna say she's gonna show up, and then she won't, and then we don't actually have to she doesn't cost us any money because she doesn't come in, but yet she's paying us indefinitely, and that is a model, and they make a ton of money. But the CrossFit model and the boutique gym, because that is really taken off, F45, Orange Theory, those are a little cheaper, but still more expensive than just global gym. They're counting on hey, you paid money for this, so you better show up. And it works. I mean, I think that's why personal training works, because it's really expensive. It's ridiculous that people pay what they pay. Thanks to the people who pay what they pay. You pay all my bills, because coaching is not financially lucrative whatsoever, but personal training is very financially lucrative. So, all right. We start CrossFit 2013. Everybody's got long shorts on.
Yeah.
They're wearing Nano 2s.
We love it.
We're playing metal.
We're wearing white booty shorts.
We're wearing booty shorts.
Catching.
Yeah, we're going like this. I love catching. So
we're going.
We're going like this on the rig, and everyone's like, "They're not pull-ups," and we're we got it. It's cool. So. I know, I'm going to brag about Callie. She is definitely still a great athlete, was definitely a top athlete. I call it affiliate heroes. The people in the affiliate who are rolling up. Rolling up, RX and workouts, kicking ass, really give a shit. How long would you say it took you to go from new person in CrossFit to affiliate hero kind of level?
I don't know. I mean, that's such a compliment first.
She's stuck. I've been told. I didn't get peak Callie, but I've been told it was sick. So.
Callie is not peaked yet.
Yeah, I love that. You wait. Peak CrossFit Callie.
You wait.
Callie doesn't CrossFit much these days, so.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pull her back one day.
Yeah. Maybe 2-3 years.
Okay, cool. No, because that's kind of my experience. I think people really want to know how long it takes you to go from just starting out to RX athlete. It's hard because everyone starts with a different basis. Obviously, if you're rolling up and you did collegiate sports and stuff like that, you have a leg up, even if you aren't particularly strong, but strength is a hard thing for people to build. For me,
gymnastics was so hard for me.
Me too. That was my last thing. That was my last thing by far. I was RXing weights within 6 months, because I used to lift a lot. I had good cardio because I did MMA, amateur MMA fighting before I did CrossFit.
You did?
Oh yeah.
God, you're awesome.
I'm not. But no, you know what came later too was dumbbell RXing. I feel it took me forever to be comfortable. You give me a 95-pound barbell, and I was well, let's go, with my slow elbows that look like shit. But you tell me to pick up a 35-pound dumbbell, and I was ugh.
Yeah.
I think it's a form thing.
You
really gotta be locked in with some dumbbells.
It's a different shape too.
Yeah, no, it's hard. Dumbbells are hard.
Lateral?
Yeah. My poor left shoulder. She's seen some things. It's fine. But no. Okay, so 2 to 3 years. And then you were doing CrossFit consistently for how
long? Probably through the pandemic. And then as a nurse, the pandemic was really, really tough. And so I kind of stopped all gymming, which is was definitely a shock to the system.
Yeah.
But it was just I had crazy anxiety.
Yeah.
and
it's interesting because that might have been the time you needed the gym most, right? So that was tough.
100%.
That's the tough thing about the pandemic. Like, we shut down so many things, and I'm not trying to get political, but we shut down so many things that were like beneficial to people at the time that I don't think people realized like the ramifications of that.
Yeah.
Because it was interesting in Florida, we reopened in like 3 months.
Uh-huh.
Like, we just immediately were like open and like wear masks. But I mean, people were like dying to get back in the gym.
Yeah, and people were dying.
The regular people, not the nurses.
Yeah.
You're like, you know, we're going
we didn't
through
know.
it.
Like, nobody really knew what to do, but for some reason, and like I've never been a germaphobe in my entire life. I like work in critical care, and I'm like in people's business, and they're like, you know, fluids all the time. And then just, I don't know, it was something about it that like really affected me, and it kept me out of the gym for at least a year. Yeah. And then I was just doing like Peloton at home, which is fine. Like, it's all well and good. But it's not HIIT. Yeah. You know, it's not full body. It's not
resistance and everything
else. It's not the same.
Yeah. I mean, how did you, we will get political for a second, I guess. How did you feel about how things were handled in the pandemic? Like, do you wish things had gone a different way? If something like that happened again, do you think like you have wholesale changes that you think people should have made? It's a loaded question, but
here's what I think.
Yeah, hit me with it.
I think
you're a medical professional.
I think
I'm curious.
Nurses in particular, but all healthcare providers, they did a little like fall on the sword thing. Like, oh, you're a hero. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. And like the healthcare providers were suffering. Yeah. And were not getting the support that they needed. Yeah. So my perspective is that if things were to happen like this again, or, you know, like looking back and, you know, Monday morning quarterbacking the whole thing, I would say that more money and time and attention needed to go into the health and well-being of the healthcare providers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then just the whole communication fiasco of, you know, the public not knowing what's the truth and what's false. It's enraging.
Do you think it was right to shut shit down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It works.
Until we weren't doing it
anymore. Yeah, that's help. Like but we had to go through that and study it to know.
To know that
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just as painful for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I would hope, I mean, knock on wood, things like this don't happen often. So I hope we don't see that again in our lifetimes, but you don't know. And I mean, it's definitely, we were talking about this conversation in the gym the other day. Bree and I were the owner of the gym, that like we should shut down in that scenario. But like, with the current administration, we don't have faith that would be a thing that would happen. So I'd be curious how that affects business owners also, because, you know, staying open is good for business because, you know, you want to make money, but also you have to take care of your people. And I mean, it's definitely this was a big tangent. The COVID episode.
No, don't make me the COVID episode.
Doctor of nursing who says COVID was a dark time.
It was.
That's my clickbait. My clickbait title.
Like, that did influence my return.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I came back in like, I don't know, 2022, like early 2022 or something. And like, my only goal was to like show up. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I'm fat. I'm out of shape. I'm like, I used to be fill in the blank
hero.
And and like now look at me and I'm just like so depressed and anxious and this is so hard and I just wanted to show up. Yeah. And I just did that for like a year.
And what made, so I guess I'll guide the question, but then you can ignore me. So what made it easier to show up the next day? Like, is that a community thing? Is that like your self-hate that you were like, I don't like what I see, I want to be different? Like, what would you say were the things that like kept you coming back after that?
Great question. I think it was the community.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in, guaranteed high fives all around.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell you like, you shouldn't have come
Yeah.
today. Like,
Ooh,
you actually
Callie.
kind of suck.
Ooh, Callie, where'd the pull-ups go?
It was the endorphins.
Yeah.
Are good for your brain.
Absolutely.
Like, science.
Science, guys. We believe in science on this
And
channel.
then it's feeling the change, like feeling the physical change and feeling like, okay, I am capable. Because that's the
awesome.
thing about fitness and
Yeah.
like gym, no matter what you're doing, is that it brings you so much like awareness of your body, awareness of your mind,
Absolutely,
awareness of your purpose. Like, so that can only be helpful for a human being.
I ask because I do think that's like very unique to CrossFit. Like, so many people stopped going to the gym during the pandemic, like that were just like simply going to global gyms and just like never went back.
Yeah,
because we've had trouble getting people back into shape post-COVID. You know, a lot of people gained a lot of weight. A lot of people, you know, it's news to no one that people who were a little fitter, who got COVID, tended to bounce back better. And you would think that as a country, we would deliver that message better, that like, hey, like being in shape matters. And like, that's a big thing with CrossFit. Like in the L1, you learn, they call it the fitness wellness continuum. Have you taken the L1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
I coached for 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Was that at Morrisville?
Yeah.
Come out of retirement because she doesn't have enough to do, guys. No, but yeah, like in CrossFit, they talk about the fitness wellness continuum, and that's like, you know, you have like the people who are severely obese, who are not well, who are the couch potatoes that don't do any fitness, that average maybe 3,000 steps a day, and then you have, and I'm not even talking about like professional athletes, that's a different realm, but like the people like Callie and myself who like work out multiple times a week, who take our fitness really seriously, who are pretty healthy. And then you have the people in the middle who are like maybe not severely obese, but don't work out and, you know, like just kind of live and take their kids out and do the whole thing. And that's something CrossFit's been preaching about for forever, is that like when you get ill and you're the person in the middle, like something happens, like a pandemic, or like a spouse dies, or you get sick or whatever, or you lose your job, suddenly like that deficit puts you so much closer to like sickness and illness and being obese and all of the issues. Whereas if you're on the other side of just the like surviving person, when you get sick, you just go back to that middle instead of all the way to the end. And I think COVID like fully demonstrated that, like completely. Obviously there are outliers. People who were fit, who got sick, they got very sick, and like, that's life. You know, like, in reality, if you're really fit, you're gonna be better equipped to handle things like cancer and heart disease and stuff like that. But in reality, you're less likely to get those things if you are fit, but they can still happen, right? But if you're not fit, the likelihood goes way up. I mean, that's a big part of my why. I talk about it a lot. But, you know, my mom has had 3 different like fights with cancer, 2 of them being different kinds of cancer. My dad has Crohn's disease. Like, I know my genetics like really stack the cards against me. They're like colon cancer, breast cancer. Yeah. My grandma had heart disease, like, you know. And so it's really important that we all kind of try to be the best version of ourselves for that purpose. So I love that that was something you like were aware of coming out of COVID. Like, this is not me. I know I can do better. Mm-hmm. So my question is, you had been doing CrossFit for like a decade at this point.
Yeah.
Now you're kind of...
That makes it sound like a really long time.
Yeah, right? Yeah. You're doing the Olympic lifting thing now, which I love. Yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
What spurred the change? Because you came back, you're getting in the gym.
My joints, bro. Like...
Which seems counterintuitive, right? Like, hoisting a lot of weight overhead and on our body. Yeah. But it's less...
Yeah.
Less impact.
I just started to feel... I have... osteoporosis in my family, like bad, and I am preparing for that, and so I have some joint pain like here and there. But yeah, my joints just started to hurt. I was feeling like a little beat down. Yeah, because I was going hard.
Chronic fatigue. Yeah,
like, you know, I'm almost 40 years old.
She's psychotic, to be clear. Me too.
Yeah, and so when I started doing the barbell stuff with Benson, who's great, I just felt really different. I was recovering faster. Interesting. I felt stronger. Yeah. The rest was really nice. I enjoy the cadence of the workout is so different. Yeah. You know, you're like sitting down and resting for 2 minutes. Yeah, so that appealed to me. I just like the way I feel.
Yeah. I find the opposite for me.
Really?
A lot. Yeah, like when I'm really pounding Olympic lifting,
Mm-hmm.
my poor knees and like my elbows, my shoulders just like get brutalized. But I think that is more a symptom of because I was overweight for so long. I think my joints are just like a little bit forever fucked up, which is like, it is what it is. I'm grateful to my body. It held on for a long time so I could get to this point. But yeah, when you're carrying like 250 to 275 on like a 5-1 frame for 10, 15 years, it's tough. So I do, but no, I because that is like a pretty common theme with a lot of people post CrossFit, like the transition into like just Olympic lifting or just powerlifting or whatever.
And it's also
So just hard to do both.
Yeah, it's really hard to do both. I mean, I think it's important to keep some level of conditioning up.
Yeah, we've had that conversation.
Because I've also like done just physique training.
Yeah.
And I lost my like my ability to go hard, to sprint. Yeah. You know, pretty fast.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I don't like that either.
Yeah, that's definitely
something. So I want like
you
something
can lose quick.
Yeah.
That was like probably this time, I guess it wouldn't have been last year, 2 years ago was like the fittest I've ever been.
Really?
And I really had like a lot of capacity. And it's crazy how you like put on 5-10 pounds, you stop training fast and hard as much, and suddenly like you try to do that again and you're like, oh, whoa, like where did that go? Because I remember we had this one workout that started with 40 burpees, and I did them in like, I don't remember what it was, like 25, 30 seconds. Like I just like cooked. And like, I'm 5'1", guys. Like burpees are my movement, to be clear. Yeah, but I was like going. And I think about that all the time. Because I'm like, man, I was also like not happy. I was in a tough spot. So, you know, don't sacrifice your mental health for fitness, to be clear, because it's really important. Yeah. That's definitely something I've struggled with. So you made the transition. I guess that's a good segue. Do you feel like you've ever, in your CrossFit career, because this is something that people deal with, do you feel like you've ever sacrificed some of your mental health to be good at your sport of choice? It doesn't have to be CrossFit, I guess. Do you feel like you've already, mental health? Yeah, like did you ever like send yourself a little crazy to get really fit? Because I feel like I get that way sometimes. Like I get really fit and I'm training a lot. And then, like, Chloe and I have this conversation. This is why it's important to find a partner who pulls you back to the center. Because I'll be like, every Thursday, I think I have the flu. Like, this is pretty good. Like, almost every Thursday, I'm like, baby, I'm not feeling that good. Like, when I'm training a lot. Like, right now, I'm training a ton. Like, almost every Thursday, I'm like, I'm scared I'm getting sick. And she's like, babe, it's Thursday. Like, you're just tired. Like, you're run down. No, literally. I got a text from yesterday where I texted her and I was like, I was going to tell you I'm not feeling good, I'm getting sick, but then I realized it's Thursday. But, like, you have these goals, you're really pushing towards these goals, and you're sacrificing, like, some of your sanity to be like, I'm tired today, but I'm going to do this thing anyway. Or do you feel like you only feel that and, like, I imagine you probably feel that way about work sometimes. It seems like you work a lot.
It is like the perfect balance for my work.
That's awesome.
Like when I go into the gym, the rest of life is on pause. Yeah. And like that is such a needed thing for me. I don't think I've ever sacrificed my mental health for fitness because I, like when I'm fit.
I feel crazy right now.
I am happy.
Yeah. I mean, same.
Because I am all about like doing the fitness that makes you feel good. Mentally and physically. So
Callie and I are gonna have more conversation off camera. She's gonna fix me, guys.
Like sometimes I'll wake up and I'll be like, I need to go for a swim.
Yeah.
Because I know that like I need a swim mentally. Yeah. I need the quiet. I need the sounds. Like each activity and each type of fitness has its place. So like pay attention to the way it makes you feel.
Yeah. And I think that's one like thing about me and CrossFit that I've ran into and struggled with is like one of the whole things they talk about in the Fitness in 100 Words is like we're doing CrossFit so that we can like try new sports and do whatever we want and blah blah blah, and I like do so little of that, but also that's like by design because I'm like, if you're like, hey Katie, let's go play pickleball this weekend, and I'm like, let's do it, and I tear my ACL playing pickleball, I'm gonna be so mad that I sacrificed my time in the gym to play pickleball on a weekend, or like, and like there are inherent risks. And to be clear, I've never been a risk taker. Like even as a kid, I was not the kid like jumping off stuff and climbing.
Do you not like pickleball?
I've never played, so I don't know. But I know a lot of people really fuck up their knees playing pickleball. Like the spike in injuries. I have a friend back home who's a doctor of physical therapy, and they like literally set up at pickleball events because so many people like leave injured because I mean a lot of it is like people who are not fit enough to go play a high intensity sport,
right?
And then they get hurt. But that's just always like the example I use. Like it could be something else, but you know, like I can't think of a recreational sport people are into right now that I could get injured doing. It's not like golf. I feel like
I think pickleball is the perfect
example. Right. Like so I think I struggle with that because I don't think I have the compartmentalized things like that. It used to be martial arts for me, but to be honest, like I did jujitsu for a while, and like I would tweak a shoulder and then I couldn't lift in the gym, and I was like, that makes me unhappy. So I do think it's interesting because I don't think I approach CrossFit like a lot of other people do. And I don't know that that's right or wrong, but, you know, because I want, like, my ultimate goal is, like, any athlete that walks through the door can, like, wake up on a Saturday and run their local 5K if they want. Like, that's my dream, right? Like, you should be able to roll up and run a 5K at any given point. I think the, like, general CrossFitter who has been doing it for a very long time should, I learned this today, guys. Talk to me about should. This is going to be our should episode. Callie tries not to tell people should. So.
Well, I try not to use the word should.
Yeah.
You know, we say at the School of Nursing, we're like, don't should yourself.
Yeah.
Because should implies that you could, but you might not.
Yeah. And
there's a correct way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And it's not binary like that.
Interesting.
So instead of saying should, I just read.
So how would you frame that? Like they should be able to get up and run a 5K. Have the ability to.
Yeah, like that it would be a privilege to have the ability to wake up and run your local 5K.
Yeah. Because that,
if you wanted to.
No, and that really boosts like my why, because that's kind of my point is like, as people on the channel know, like my mom has terminal metastasized breast cancer, like everything I do in fitness and in life really in general, but like she is always there in the back of my mind. Like we did a hero WOD yesterday. Yeah, at the gym, and it was this one called Laura, which I had never done, and it was about this lady who was an FBI agent who was on like a child abuse raid and was murdered, and she was like a huge part of her like local CrossFit community, so they wrote this workout for her, and so I'm coaching this workout, and I do this in front of the more famous ones, like I tell the story when we did Chad, and when we do Murph and DT and all the other ones, and I'm like, you know, take the hero WOD and apply it to you, right? So like whatever your why is, like don't forget why you do what you do, and also just like how fortunate we are, because I think people miss that, is that being like, I'll tell it like it is, it makes me sound egotistical, but like in reality to the general public, like you and I sitting here, we are like elite fitness compared to like the general pop. Like the amount of personal training clients I have that come in who like simply can't do a workout that you and I would consider like a recovery workout, that we're like, I just wanted to move today. Like I have a client who, I won't name names because I don't want to do them like that, but they're doing a great job, but like out of shape, they know they're deconditioned. Like we do like 5 rounds of like rowing and box step ups, and it takes 35-40 minutes to get a 500-meter row and 10 step ups, and it takes 30-40 minutes to do something that you and I would do in 10 minutes, maybe 12 if we want to go slow. And so like I think it's really important. So I love what you say about the should, because I do think it's important to remember that like we are so fortunate that we get to do fitness, and that you came out of COVID, and instead of being like, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna do drugs, I'm gonna do terrible things to myself, I'm gonna go party all the time because I need to deal with this stress because I have a high stress job, like you chose fitness as your thing to like zone in on, and like a lot of people don't do that.
But that speaks to your comment about how like the habit of doing this like longitudinally is beneficial no matter what level you're at.
Yeah.
If you're used to making it a habit to going to the gym,
or
if you understand that endorphins are good for your mental health, and that you make yourself go to the gym and then you get better.
So how do you, as a medical professional, this is an interesting question. So how do we make people less lazy? And I know that sounds really negative, but like that's the problem, right? Because I can tell anyone. I was going to name people by name, but I don't want to. People in my life.
Do it.
People in my life who are not fit, don't try to be fit, don't really give a shit to be fit, think they could never do that, right? So how do we take those people and be like, because maybe it isn't that I want everyone to be able to get up and run a 5K. I think the general CrossFitter, I would love for them to be capable of that. But even like walk a 5K. Because I think, I couldn't tell you a percentage, but I'm sure a large majority of the people in our country couldn't go out and walk 3 miles without being like just wrecked the next day, right? Like people go to Disney and like everyone walks like 10, 20,000 steps at Disney. Like you must. And the next day people are like bodied from that, like completely blown away. So how do we get people to take that step to just like make the small improvements to be healthier?
Well, there are a lot of things that the public can do, that the government can do, and that the world can do to make it more feasible for people to take care of themselves. Affordable medications. I mean, don't get me started. But I think in terms of like messaging and like the way that fitness and CrossFit can reach out to people, I think is by like continuing to spread the message that it is a privilege that health is a privilege.
To live along, to have longevity.
Health is a spectrum.
And
that there are small things that we can do to improve our health. I think there's an opportunity for CrossFit to engage in some preventative medicine, checking blood pressure, checking blood sugars, like that kind of thing. Because it really aligns with the mission.
Absolutely.
These are super basic things, but the thing about that is, you have to get people to show up physically to the gym. So that means they have to have a certain income. It means they have to be able to come into that class.
Have the time to.
So it's
because it is interesting.
It's a big question.
You include government in that, because that's the thing I think about a lot, and I think a lot of the answers to this feeling has to do with like technology and how many things we've added to distract us. But if you look at like the scope of America the last like 100 years, it's like if you go back to like when JFK was president, like having fitness as a standard was like such a thing that they pushed. And like I feel like the Obama administration tried to bring that back a little. Like I know Michelle Obama, again, not trying to get political, but that's my dog.
Michelle.
I saw her speak in Gainesville once. It was amazing. I've seen both of them speak, and it was amazing. I'm a big Obama gal, but not to get political. Please don't unfollow if you're conservative. I love you anyway. Come do CrossFit. There's a lot of conservatives. But no, and like I feel like they tried to bring it back and like was just kind of like ignored. And I think it's interesting that I feel like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, like fitness was cool. Like everyone was going for walks, going for runs, like doing like, jazzercise, Arnold, the man, the myth, the legend himself. And then now I feel like it's almost like weird. Alyssa and I had that conversation. We have this top athlete at the gym who I should get on the pod someday. That would be sick. She's great. But Alyssa is like in the top 1% after the Open this year. She's incredible. And we were talking about like her goals moving forward, because she is like a very small athlete. She's 5 foot 105. Like she's a little athlete. And we were talking about her goals stepping forward. And I'm like, it's not like it's affiliate hero or CrossFit Games athlete. There's a lot in between. Like being a semifinals athlete is like incredible, right? Like qualifying for the games as a master's athlete is incredible. And it's like all of these steps in between. And she hit me with the like, well, I know it's just fitness, but. And I'm like, no, like you have your girls. She has twins. You have your girls. I know you love them more than anything. We know that. You work really hard. We know that. But if like the next thing on that list is fitness for you, that's really cool. Like that's the next thing on my list, right? Like luckily I work in fitness, so those two things are paired, but it's like Chloe and my family, and then it's fitness. Like there are a few things that matter to me more, and I don't know how we can make that cooler.
I don't know if it's about making it cooler. I think it's just that human beings are inherently lazy.
Yeah.
And that there are things like stipends from the government and insurance incentives that have proven to make the community healthier in other countries.
Yeah. And we should push for more of that.
Yes. So if you get insurance, it's kind of like the the deal with your car insurance. If you don't get in a wreck, you have a really good rate. Yeah. Similar with health insurance.
Interesting.
Not that you're punished for being sick, but they pay for your gym membership.
Yeah.
What if our gym membership was paid for?
Yeah. Yeah, it would definitely lower the barrier to entry, right? If every personal trained client I ever talked to was like,
Norway.
I get a couple...
Incredible.
Yeah, I get a couple free sessions a month, basically. Yeah, no, it would make a big difference, because... Yeah, I think money is obviously a large
money, honey.
I think it's hard for me because I know a lot of people in CrossFit who grew up fit, or at least fit enough. And because I grew up not fit, I did martial arts growing up as a kid, but then I got super out of shape. I was pretty out of shape even by high school, right? And then adulthood. And then I was 27 when, my story is I was, laying in bed watching The Karate Kid. I'm, in an unhappy marriage. I'm miserable. I hate myself. And I was I don't want to be like this anymore. And I, started doing martial arts again. Started going to the gym because I had that psycho thing in me that wanted to be good at it. And when you're, huge, you just simply can't be good at martial arts. It's pretty no-nonsense there. And so... I started training by myself, didn't have a personal trainer, didn't do CrossFit, just did my own thing, lost 100 pounds,
That's an insane
changed
story.
my whole life. And so I think it's hard because, I was really lazy. I always say, I ran my ultra and, I started crying at the end. I'm telling Chloe, even, I ran a 10K once and I started crying at the end. This was, 2 years ago. Because I'm if you went back 10 years from now and you told Katie 10 years ago that she could run a 10K. I used to walk across Disney and get shin splints. Or walk from gate to gate at the airport and you're having to huff it because you got 45 minutes, you gotta move. And I'd be sweating bullets, I'd have shin splints, I'd feel terrible. Mm-hmm. And I lived like that for so long. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time Chloe asked me did you know that you could make a change? And I didn't even really have an idea. I remember being unhappy with myself, and I knew I could one of my best friends and I would try to go to our apartment gym for a week and then quit, and I would just be crushing Taco Bell. God bless Taco Bell. I'm not even being a hater, but I once did the math on what my old order at Taco Bell was calorically, and it was insane. Pushing 2K.
I feel what you're describing, it's important to recognize that was so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And what you did was you broke the pattern of generational health.
Yeah. Yeah, because my parents
heard of generational wealth, right?
Yeah.
Health is the exact same way.
Yeah.
My dad was a college athlete, so
Chloe's
Chloe's
dad works out 6 days a week. Her mom was a figure skater.
Yeah.
She is so shook because she meets people and she's I didn't realize people grew up not in fitness. That's, she was a competitive gymnast. That has been her whole life. And I'm God bless my parents. I love you guys. But my parents were not working out. My parents were not pushing us to be super active. Yeah. And there's power in both, right? Some kids hate doing sports because their parents push them and everything else. And my parents have loved me no matter what. It doesn't matter if I was 275, 175, anywhere in between. They're you're beautiful, you're perfect, you do everything well. Mm-hmm. And there is power in that without a doubt. I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot of negativity in that. I talk about it with relationship stuff too. Is I met a girl, started dating her, she was I love you, and I was well, I guess we get married now. Even though no offense, dog, if you watch this. I knew pretty much the whole time. I was I don't think this is in love. I don't think this is what the fairy tales, tell you, but you're well, maybe that doesn't exist. And then I had low self-esteem and everything else. And then one day you realize no, I deserve better than that. And And I think it's the same with parents who like don't push you. It's like, because I had that example of my parents who had been married for 1,000,000 years, and I'm very fortunate. I'm not a child of divorce, anything like that. But I just thought that's how it worked. Like, you know, you find your best friend, you start dating them, they love you. I guess the next step is like we get married. And then you're like, no, like I deserve more. I deserve that like magical thing. And like now that I'm with Chloe, I know I have that thing. And that's like, it's really powerful because after I got divorced, I was like, I'm never getting married again. And then she was like, bitch, we're getting married. And I was like,
okay.
All right, I guess I'm gonna propose it. So, you know, it's like that. But I think it's like, I know that's a tangent, but I think that's how it is with fitness too. Like, I think when you have that example in front of you, like you said, your dad was a collegiate athlete, like it definitely skews the way you look at fitness and sports for forever. But like, did you ever feel pressure to be fit based on that? Also, how many minutes are you from the gym? 10, 15?
Like 10.
Okay, cool. I'll leave in 5. You got 5 more minutes, people. But yeah, this has been a great talk. This has been a long ass episode. I love.
No, I don't think I felt pressure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I mean, so do you feel like you're gonna keep doing the Olympic lifting thing for forever?
Yeah, because I see movement forward.
Yeah, you're just getting started. Good. You're just getting started.
Yeah,
you're a stud. Chloe and I talk about it all the time. She's like, you know, who's a freaking stud? Callie.
But I'm lifting more now as a 38-year-old than I was when I was baby CrossFitter.
Yeah.
You know, just doing some...
Alyssa and I talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of moms at the gym who... Callie's not a mom, to be clear, but Alyssa is. That's why I'm taking this segue. There's a lot of moms at the gym who are like, my days of setting goals are behind me. Or like, my days of PRing are behind me. I'm like... That's just simply not the case for anyone. If you like decide your goals are not to do that stuff, cool. But like, just because you're over 36 doesn't mean that you like can't PR anymore. Alyssa was like, I'm the strongest I've ever been.
Yeah.
Alyssa's 41, has 2 kids. Like, it's incredible. And I don't know how to like display that message to people who I guess like feel like their best days are behind them too, which is like a whole different episode. But
health is a marathon.
Yeah.
And we don't go, I don't know, in my mind, I don't go to the gym for accolades or to even like be crazy competitive. I'm not competitive. But
you got that dog in you.
Yeah, I got a little dog. But the reason that like unites us all to go to the gym is health.
Yeah.
That's a big umbrella. And so it looks different for everybody. And I just, you know, when I'm talking to young athletes or, you know, people who have goals and they don't really know how to, like, how to describe what those goals are, I'm like, it's health.
Yeah,
what does health look like to you right now in your life?
Because I don't think I even realized that's what I was getting into with CrossFit. Like, I've thought of CrossFit as a sport for so long.
Yeah.
And then I think I got to a certain, like, I mean, I'll put myself on blast. Like, I've definitely been a heavier athlete for years, you know, coming off of losing a lot of weight. But also, like, I really like being strong. And, like, you can be slender and strong. Don't get me wrong. Again, Alyssa, who I've brought up, like, 12 times, 105. She can back squat 255. Like, she's incredible. This is, like, she's a freak of nature. But, like, I always thought I needed to be a little heavier. And then, like, the older I get... to be strong. And the older I get, I'm, like... I know that I can be strong and trimmer than I am. But also, like, the longevity of health is far more important than being strong. And, like, PRing every lift and, like, doing all of the things that I think I did the first 4 or 5 years I was in CrossFit. And, like, you know, I've gotten into running. I'm doing more cardio. I'd love to do an Ironman one day. Like, stuff like that. And that definitely changes, like, your goals, your physique, like what you can do in the gym. Like even right now, I know that I don't want to speak in absolutes, but I probably couldn't back squat my current PR, right? Like my lifetime PR, 295. Mm-hmm. I'm like 15 pounds lighter than I was when I hit 295. Like I might be able to, but I haven't been squatting as much. Like strength hasn't been a priority for me, but I do feel like I've like come to a point where I'm like okay with that too. Yes. And I think that's more what you're saying is like the health side of it. I don't need to just be strong. Like I want to be healthy. My fiance is a lot younger than me. Like I want to live a good long life so that, you know, when I have a kid at 40, which is, whatever. I'm going to be able to ride with that kid for as long as humanly possible and not have them be like, my old ass mom back there. I got to get the cart out to push mom, They might have to do that anyway because of my fucked up knees, but that's a different story. So health and wellness over sport, I guess, is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I'll get better at it. I'm not great at it. I'm like talking it up, but then next week I'm going to pull Callie aside and be like, I don't want to squat 305, so I'm going to bulk up and do it because that's how I'm a monster. Well, when's your next comp? There you go. That's the question. July. Yeah. Are you going to do the lift off too?
I'm going to volunteer.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make Chloe do it.
And then I'll probably get pumped up.
We've talked about it. I think she's going to do it.
Really?
I'm excited. Yeah.
That's great.
I think she'll really fuck shit up.
That's great.
Yeah. So... yeah, my lovely fiance. Well, Callie, thanks for chit-chatting with me.
Of course.
Way longer than I planned on keeping you.
It was so fun.
Guys, what's your Instagram?
Callie's Coffees.
Do you want people to find you, I guess?
I don't know.
That's it. I don't even know. Callie's the best, though. You should keep an eye out for her. She'll be on the channel more, I promise. But thank you for talking today. I appreciate you. Mm-hmm. I think this will be like Callie's opinion on health and wellness and fitness.
Oh, gosh.
I think that's...
maybe.
Yeah, the COVID episode. Thanks for watching.
Oh, no, don't call it the COVID episode.
Oh, really? I'm just giving a gym tour. You can just keep talking. This will be a casual gym tour.
There was like 4 of these.
Yeah.
On
that's really cool. Door. What'd you do with the other ones?
I threw them away.
Damn.
They're ugly.
Yeah, but you probably could have sold them on Marketplace. People are weird about shit.
This is some art that my nephews
You're a rock star. That's true.
At my recent meet.
I love that. That's really cute.
Yeah. And then I'll put TV here.
Garage gym tours.
Yeah.
That should be my next thing. My latest obsession is this. I'm going to buy one. Slack block. Sorry, I don't know how to read.
Get your feet strong.
Yep. They're
Balance
not.
is power. It's also very good for aging because falls are a serious problem for old people like Katie and I.
This is the health and wellness episode.